Well, here we are, and this is what all the hard work here at Preston has been all about. And today we are going to be in the final of the playoffs in the championship. But I must confess that I don't think that at any time in the last 4 years playing FM, I have ever won a playoffs final. Is this where it's going to change? I don't know, but I do know that we have a game plan. Let's hope it works. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to The Road to Glory, Part 68, Season 7, here currently at Preston. And today, this is the biggest opportunity to put ourselves on the road to glory in this save, because at the end of this episode, it is possible that we will be going in to the Premier League. If we can beat Middlesbrough, we will be a Premier League team. And Middlesbrough was a team that I did not want to face. But it is what it is, and you have to play what is in front of you. And so we will be watching the final today, and then after the final, no matter which way it goes, we'll be taking a look at the season review, because I will be looking forward to having a look back at what has been an outstanding season for this Preston team. And whichever way it goes, I will feel extremely proud of this team going from 22nd at the end of November to finishing in the final of the playoffs. What a great achievement it has been. But before we get into all that, if you are a first-time visitor to the channel and you like FM content and like watching people suffer as they play this game, then why not subscribe, like, watch and comment, help the channel to grow and help us to support all that very good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And while we're on that subject, we are doing very well raising money for the British Heart Foundation through the Just Giving page. And if you have a mind to make a small donation, even if it's only £1 or £2, it will mount up. I will leave a link to that in the description below. We can make a difference. And so, most of you who know me would know that I would not be going into a big game like this without some sort of a game plan. And so I think it would be a good idea to have a look at how we've put together this game plan. And if you look at how Middlesbrough play, you can see that they play with a fluid counter-attack style. And if we don't know what that means, and I'm fairly familiar because I play against it a lot in the championship, but if you're not familiar with what that is, then let's just load up a new tactic. Let's create a new tactic and we'll look for a fluid counter-attack, and it will explain exactly how they are going to play. It looks like they are going to sit back, draw the opposition out, and then break at pace. They'll be very fluid on the counter, they'll be interpassing, and they will be running with the ball, and a lot of that will take place through the centre. They'll probably play with a cautious mentality, but if they are behind, they may well change the system that they're playing, and we have to have a plan B in order to counteract that if it happens. They'll play shorter passing and they will dribble. They will run at the defence and play with a slightly higher tempo. They'll play with a lower defensive line, a low block in order to draw us out, and they will tackle us. They'll be getting stuck in, and they will also make sure that we cannot get in behind them. This is a very, very good tactic that they will be playing, and this is the way that we will be playing. And when I look at that, I am immediately concerned, because there are a number of issues which this is not going to help out with. And so we're going to have to adapt our tactic in a number of ways. And so, yeah, looking at that, we are going to be very, very vulnerable to the counterattack, and we are certainly lacking numbers in midfield. So we're going to have to change not only the style of play, but the shape that we are going to be playing in. And in terms of the mentality, I would like to keep that on a positive mentality. And the reason for doing that is that it's very important now to change the way that we are going to play. And we are going to slow things down. And the idea of this is that we want to keep as much possession as we possibly can. So we will be playing much shorter passes of lower tempo, and we will be time wasting from time to time. We want to keep possession. They cannot score and they cannot mount attacks at pace if they don't have the ball. We will take out pass into space. It's counterproductive. We just want to hold on to the ball and keep the ball away from them. And then we will work the ball into the box. Now that will help with the very patient way that we're going to try to win this game. We will then also, because we are pretty decent at set pieces, we'll keep that in, but we will dribble less. And in this case, we are going to be more disciplined. If we are going to play shorter passing game, then I don't want people taking risks and doing things out of the ordinary and running away from their shape, because it's important that we maintain our shape and our way of playing. So I want them to be more disciplined and to follow the game plan. And then in transition, we are going to counter-press, but we are not going to counter. We are going to instead hold our shape. We don't want to do things at speed. So I'm also going to ask the goalkeeper to slow the pace down. And so in slowing everything down, hopefully what we are going to do is to protect the ball, to not allow them to win the ball too often in transition and launch these very quick direct counter-attacks that they will go on. I do not want the goalkeeper taking any risks. I just want him to distribute to the back line, to give him options across the back line and to roll it out. We do know that our goalkeeper's kicking is not awesome, so I just want him to give the ball to the back line and let them distribute it. Something that I may have forgotten is that I now also want to play out of defense. So having set up the transitions and the way we are going to play in possession, I think you can see now that the idea is to try and win possession, to hold on to the ball and keep our shape, slow everything down, keep our shape, and then that will hopefully reduce the amount of times that they win the ball in transition and then can launch these quick counter-attacks. Out of position, we're going to have to defend well. And so I will play a mid-block with a higher line. And the reason for that is that I want to compress the space in here, both vertically and laterally. So that means that we can find our targets with our passes in a much more frequent basis. And I do want to trigger press much more often. I want to get in their face. In transition, we need to be stopping them using the ball. And so when they do win the ball or when they are distributing the ball, I want to be in their face and we are going to get stuck in. This is very, very important. And as you'll see later, it may affect who we actually select. As we are playing with a higher line, I will want to drop off more. This will help us to keep our shape, and the rest of it for the moment I will leave as standard. And so the whole idea is to stop them playing by maintaining possession. And in order to help us maintain possession, we're asking them to be more disciplined, slow everything down, and we've compressed the pitch. And so that's how it's going to work in terms of a tactic. But as you know, the shape is not going to help us here, because if they are bombing up and down the middle, we don't have enough support here in this area. And so what we are going to do is we are going to line up in a 4-3-3. And our defensive line will be as we have set up previously. But now we don't want any risk takers, or we don't want any of these creative players in the team whatsoever. And what you'll see immediately is poor old Ben Whiteman has found himself on the bench. And one of the reasons that he's on the bench is that he lacks aggression, he's not very strong, and we need to be winning the ball in this area. So Matate will play as a ball-winning midfielder at the base of the midfield. He's very, very accomplished in this role. I may decide to switch him over with McCann, I'm not sure how that's going to work out yet. I'll make a judgment later on after I have seen the report on the Middlesbrough team. But Mohammed will come in as the box-to-box, and I'm going to ask him to get further forward and support the forward players. Mohammed will be in the team. He's slightly more aggressive and he's a bit stronger, but he has got great teamwork and work rate. And he's very, very determined and got good mentals for his age. And I think, given that he has good decisions, that he may well be the right person to take this role in midfield. And then up front, in order to prevent people from taking risks, Nyandulu will come in on the right wing, and he will be playing as a wide target man. He's instructed to cross less often, and the reason for that is he's not a very good crosser of the ball, but I want him looking for Norton Cuffy in that particular area, and because we are instructing them to underlap on the right, and for McCann, who will be hanging around this area. And then Jean-Jules will play as an advanced playmaker on the left. Now, he is the only one that I am going to allow to be a little bit more expressive. And he's going to have a license to roam around and try to open up the defense for us as a playmaker on attack. He will be supported by Mohammed as the box-to-box midfielder, and I'm hoping that they will link up quite well. And then Surridge will play as normal as a pressing forward, and I want him to put pressure on the centre-backs of Middlesbrough. So in terms of team selection and the overall style of play, I do not want us spraying balls around anymore. What we had before was this DLP roaming around wherever he wanted to be, spraying long passes and doing whatever he wanted to do. I don't want them doing that anymore. If we are losing the ball by taking risks, then we are giving them the opportunity to launch counterattacks and transition. And every single one of these players, except for Jean-Jules, has been told to dribble less and to take fewer risks. We want to just keep hold of the ball, frustrate them, and to try as much as possible not to give the ball away. And so that is how we have set up. Plan B would be, if it's not working, just to go back to our standard way of playing in the second half and see if we can't put a little bit of pressure on them later on when they might be getting tired. And we have to then think about, well, if we are changing the way that we are going to play, we're going to have to train the players. So we've altered their training routine for this week. And after tomorrow's day of recovery, after the Burnley games, we will be focusing on chance conversion, because we may not get many chances and we need to put them away. And also on attacking patient, because we're going to be asking our players to slow the game down, take your time, and we're going to get them working on being very patient in terms of creating chances and getting the ball into the box. And we will also then be working on the goalkeepers, but that has a spin-off effect in that the strikers will get extra practice at putting shots away. On Wednesday, as per normal, we'll be working on our set pieces. We are going to play for set pieces, so we need to work on them. And then, because we are looking at doing a lot more pressing and defending in transition, and we are going to be having a day where we look at transitioning and preventing attacks and winning the ball back. And then on Friday, just in case, we're going to do some work, a very light day, on defending set pieces, and that will be their training regime for this week. We're trying to cover all bases. We're looking at the way that we want to play and also what we need to do in order to defend when they counterattack. And so that is the match preparation pretty much. I will need to see the team report before I can set up the opposition instructions, but I don't think we'll be setting up too many. They are a very, very good team, and we need to focus on working as a team rather than focusing on their individuals. So now I think I should play through the rest of the week, and I will see you at Wembley for the final. And so here we are at the final, and the team for today is Cox in goal, Norton Cuffy will play at right back, Digbareku and Lindsay will play in central defence. I brought Lindsay in instead of Bernard because he's a little bit more aggressive and he's a bit stronger and he's better in the air. So we have two good players at centre-back who are very good in the air. And then Nizet will play as the left full-back. Both full-backs are going to be crucial to this, and very, very important that they close down less. It's very, very important. And in fact, we need to be telling our right full-back to close down less. We don't want them to be bombing up and the wingers skipping past them. Matate will play as the ball-winning midfielder at the base of midfield with Makan and Mohamed. Jean-Jules, Niandulu and Surridge will play as the front three. And so here we go. And as I stated previously, I don't think I have won a playoff match in the last 4 seasons. And so this is going to be very, very interesting. And we are just going to go out there. I have asked Digbareku to tight mark their forward. He is very, very good. And I think that somebody needs to keep an eye on him. I think Digbareku has the ability to tight mark him and to make sure that he doesn't cause us a great deal of mischief. I don't know if this is going to work. I would be very, very surprised if we win this. I'm just hoping, crossing fingers and hoping that we can do the business here. We need to keep an eye on possession. We have had 95% of the possession in the first 10 minutes. But we do need to be very, very careful of Middlesbrough. And they are a very good team. We need to hold on to the ball. That is not a good example. Middlesbrough are through and they have scored. And within 10 minutes, we are a goal behind. The plan has not worked. We've kept possession, but we haven't been able to stop them attacking in transition. And that was the key to all this. It is unfortunately Preston 0, Middlesbrough 1. It was Mohamed. He's not fully match fit, and maybe Whiteman would have been a better option. Maybe that's my error. I'll have to keep an eye on Mohamed, and I need to make sure. I mean, we put ball winners in that midfield, and it's really, really sad that we're not winning the ball. And it is actually Middlesbrough who've had all of the game, and we need to be resolute in defence. And we're just not doing enough. And there's a long shot that goes over the crossbar. I'm pretty certain Cox can deal with those all day. I need to shout at them. We need to be doing a bit more. I'm going to demand more of them. The tactic is set up to do a certain job, and we are not doing it. And as we're coming up to halfway through the first half, it is still Preston 0, Middlesbrough 1. I just need to find out, is anybody causing us particular problems? It is Braybook, who is a bit of a nuisance. Languini also may be a little bit of a nuisance, but we are supposed to be tight marking him. So you have to keep an eye on those players. We do have a throw-in. It is going to be Norton Cuffy. He finds Niandulu. Niandulu to Cuffy. Cuffy into Matate. Matate to McCann. This is how we should be playing it, stopping them getting the ball. But unfortunately, they have taken the ball off us, and we should be getting stuck into them. It's not happening. It just isn't happening today. They're not doing the job, and that's given away a penalty, has it? We're going to go 2-0 down, and I think it's game over now. It's like the final has fallen apart. I am just so gutted at the moment, and I set it up. I thought I had set it up properly. Middlesbrough are 2-0 ahead, and they've just let me down. They have not been winning the ball in midfield. I set them up to win the ball in midfield. They haven't done it, and they've paid the price. I don't think there was anything wrong with the game plan. I just think they haven't carried it out. I'm really unhappy with them, and it is Preston 0, Middlesbrough 2. it's a really disappointing final, and I'm going to say that we simply have to be better. We're in the position that we deserve to be. The numbers are saying that, and we need to get out there and do better. This is not good enough, and unfortunately Middlesbrough are running away with this. But we do have a set piece. I wonder, can we get a goal from a set piece? It is Mohamed to swing in the set piece to the far post, and it's headed over. It doesn't look like it's going to be our day. Middlesbrough are coasting as far as I can see. We have won all the possession, and Middlesbrough look fitter than us. They look more up for it than us. And as we come up to 60 minutes, I've got to try something different now. And so we have reverted back to the way that we have been playing before. And I hope maybe if we can get one goal, then we will be back in the game. And it is Lindsay on the ball. McCann over the top for Jean-Jules. Surridge has had an awful game. I'm hoping that going back to our original system will bring the best out of Surridge. That's a poor cross, but it's come out to Corbeanu. Corbeanu needs to get across into the box. Let's fire in across in the box. There is a chance, and Ali McCann has made it 2-1. We are back in the game. The change of system has worked. We've caught them out. I always did have this in mind as a plan B, and I thought we had to do it. We were not in the game. It was a fortunate cross into the box. And McCann spun round and fired it into the corner. It's Preston 1, Middlesbrough 2. There are still 25 minutes to go, and we just need to keep an eye on players who may not be playing well. And Surridge really is still having a poor game. I don't know if there's anything I can do, though. I think we'll just continue with what we're doing. The players are doing okay. Nizet is looking tired, so maybe we need to take Nizet off, and we will bring on Noah Hay. He'll work as an inverted fullback, and maybe we just need one more go. We're back in the game. I would back us then to win the final if we can just get one more chance, one more opportunity. Come on, FM, you've got to give us one more opportunity. It's Preston 1, Middlesbrough 2. Doherty's on the ball. He's been robbed, and Middlesbrough are looking to play it out from the back. We need to press them hard, and they are looking to play it around. Are they going to give it away? Please give it away. There's a long ball forward, but they have found a man in space. And it is Middlesbrough who are finishing the stronger. They are going to score. It's 3-1. And finally, the game is over. We have been beaten in the final. But as I said at the beginning, it's a day we should be proud of them. And I really don't want to see that again. It was a good goal. But if we look at how the game has gone, we have absolutely dominated the match. We've just not been as good as them. Surridge had an awful game. In terms of the stats, we actually outplayed them. In possession, we had 72% of the possession. We had 14 shots, but only 3 on target. And I'm afraid that Surridge has let us down. We weren't good enough, and that's all I can say. It's just really sad that we didn't make it. We do have another season in the Championship, and unfortunately it wasn't our year, and we have been defeated in the EFL Championship. I wonder if we do have any news of budgets. Not yet. Nothing. I will come back when there is some news of any budgets, and we will do the end of season review. And so we do come back with some news of who is the top goal scorer. Sam Surridge came second. He had 33 goals this season. And Philip Tietz, who was marked out of the game in the final by Digbareko, he came first. He's a very, very good striker, scored 51 goals this season, and he's the kind of player I'd like to have in my team. And Preston players who've been named in the Team of the Year is Corbeanu and he had a very, very good season. I maybe got this wrong and should have gone with my original system, and maybe the loss in the final is my fault. Maybe I overthought it and should have just gone with how we were playing. And the board have set the initial budgets, and we will have a salary wage budget of 475,000 and a transfer budget of 917,000. And again, we're not going to be able to do anything with that unless we move players on. And do I want to move players on after this season? Not really. Maybe we need to get rid of a couple of the older generation now, but I feel that's kind of mean. And the expectations, I think, will be the same, and I don't want to either lounge around in the championship, and so I was hoping that things might be a little bit better on that front. And so let's go to the end of season review. It's been a very, very good season, and I am feeling good about what we have achieved. And in terms of the new arrivals, John Jules is the top man. He had 11 goals, 8 assists, playing in that shadow striker position with an average rating of 7.22. Dig Bareku, who I brought in January for a 1.7 million, was an outstanding centre-back, and he has an average rating of 7.17, and the board are delighted with the deal to sign him. Matthew Cox is a great goalkeeper. Again, they are delighted. Not so delighted with Jean Jules. Matthew Cox is a great goalkeeper, and he's come in, got an average rating of 7.16. The board, delighted. And Alfie Doherty, again, the board are not so delighted with him, but he did have a very, very good season, 39 appearances. He had the most key passes of any of the players in the squad, and he had an average rating of 7. The others, I'm a bit disappointed with Nizet and Brooke Norton-Cuffy. They didn't do too bad for a first half season, almost at a 7. Matate, I think he played better than his average rating suggests, and the board are actually pleased with the deal to sign him. In terms of the results, it was a very, very good year. We took over when we were in 22nd on the 18th of November, and we took Preston all the way up to 6th, and their initial form was an absolute disaster. I took over here at Ipswich, and then all the way through it was winning, with the odd draw scattered in here and there. The only blips being the 2 losses to Sunderland, and unfortunately the loss to Middlesbrough in the final. It wasn't to be. In the FA Cup, we did also very, very well, reaching the quarter-final, where we were finally beaten by Chelsea. And in the Carabao Cup, that was before I actually arrived. And it was a season for Preston to remember. It was the comeback of all comebacks. Our best win was 6-0 at home to Fleetwood, and match to remember the 4-2 victory over Ipswich, which was, we did twice actually. I think this one was the first one, 18th of November when I arrived. And the goal of the season was scored by Ben Whiteman. Ben Whiteman, who was an absolute gem of a player this season. In the DLP role, he absolutely controlled everything. Our reputation stays the same, and most of what has happened has put us in the red. Finances, what can I do? In terms of competition prize money, we've gained £700,000, and that's what I can control. The rest of it is down to the board. Shirt sales, we sold 8,000 shirts, Surridge being the top, unsurprisingly, and then McCann and Fernandez, who didn't get to play at all after injuring himself very badly. Nyundulu and Matate make up the top 5. And in terms of our best team, I would probably not go along with that. I would put Norton Cuffy instead of Brodie Hughes, and the rest of it I'm not going to argue with. I think it was a team that we have to remember were total write-offs when I arrived, and I couldn't find any strengths to them at all, to the squad at all, and had to go to that system in order to try to get the best out of them, and they did remarkably well. Jean-Jules was the fans' player of the season. He's after a new contract, so I guess I'll have to give him a new contract. Digbereku was the young player of the season, and Matthew Cox the signing of the season. Goal of the season, as we know, Ben Whiteman. Top goal scorer, 35 goals from Sam Surridge, and Corbin Yu chipped in with 12 assists. I'm surprised the board are not happy about his signing. He had a very, very good season, I think. Sam Surridge had the most player of the match awards with 6, and the highest average rating, Jean-Jules, 7.2. Ibrahim Digbereku, the centre-back, had the most passes completed. Sam Surridge has broken the record for the most overall goals by a player in the season, scoring 35, and most goals by a player in a match has been broken, Surridge getting 4. Most goals by a player in a league match, 4 by Sam Surridge, and the highest transfer fee paid was 4.39 million for Alfie Doherty, and he did have a very good season. Highest transfer fee received, 14.17 million for Francesca Valera, and the fastest goal this season was scored by Emil Ruiz after just 17 seconds. And history in the making. A great run of results in the middle of the season. Preston have enjoyed a very successful campaign. They looked sharp when they had to be in the middle of the season. Few will have expected this outcome, but they gave themselves a chance and reaped the rewards. And that is it for this episode. It's not how I wanted it to turn out to be, but I am very, very proud of this Preston team and what they achieved this season. And I'm hoping it's possible that some bigger clubs might be taking a look at this manager and thinking maybe it's time for him to prove himself in the Premier League or in the top leagues abroad. And that's it for this episode. If you are new to the channel, then why not subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow and help us to support all that good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And it has been a very, very sad day as we were beaten quite soundly in the end by 3-1, and it goes to show that even the best laid plans, when you look at the opposition, you plan the game to beat them, it doesn't always work out. On another day, it might have worked. But from a very downcast Preston, where we will shake ourselves off, pick ourselves up, and look forward to the summer transfer window. And I'll be back just before the start of the brand new season. We will see you soon.